I clothe myself in that personality or that persona, and I begin speaking from that persona. When I'm doing the teaching, I want to come from something other than what DeCarlo knows, and I want to come in from a deeper knowledge. So I'll clothe myself with Neville, as it were, and I'll take on that personality of Neville, and I'll find myself studying and pulling those things that a Neville will pull out. And I know that just because of his conversation. I know that because of Jesus' conversation. I know that because of now there's certain things that I'll say and it sounds like Lindo. We kind of iron sharpens iron, so the whole point is you have to clothe yourself in the state, frequency of who it is that you want to become.
Well, actually, everyone in Scripture is just a state of consciousness.
Absolutely.
And you'll play all them different parts. As Shakespeare said it, man in his time plays many parts, and you do. But every one of them is just a part you're playing. It's not you, your spirit. This is what you're doing. It's not who you are. But that's what people think. This body is me. That's what I am. No, that's what you're wearing. Because you take it. You're told you take it off.
Hear what he's saying, because I got a feeling that what he just said just kind of went over many people's heads. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. You've clothed yourself and said that I'm shy. You've clothed yourself and said I'm not smart. You've clothed yourself, speaking of your spirit, in all these negative conversations that you have with yourself. These are clothing called flesh.
What's really a problem? It's just being honest with yourself when you're looking at yourself.
The challenge is going to be, though, because a lot of people, when they're doing the negative self-talk that I'm not enough, they think that they are being honest with themselves.
Yeah, that's right. You see, and they're looking, they're feeling, well, I can't help myself. Well, no, God didn't leave you here helpless. He gave you, choose this day. What are you choosing? And if someone didn't tell you, well, then you're guiltless. If you didn't know, you're only guilty if you know.
I got some bad news for many of you. We've told you, so you know.
Yeah, well, and the thing of it is, don't worry about it, forgetting it. It's in there now.
Absolutely.
It'll keep bubbling up and bubbling up. People tell me, well, I can't forgive him because I can't forget that. And what everybody's worried about what they're forgetting. I mean, what's the problem? You just have to pick out the right things to get rid of. You get what you do want pretty much the same way you get what you want.
The exact same way. The exact same way.
That's right. I mean, because it's all thinking. What thoughts are you grabbing onto and hanging on to? If they're not serving you, let them go. Pick some new ones. That's what it is. It's supposed to be a new adventure, a new day, a new adventure. Think of something different for a change. We all get really tied down with that habitualness, but it's not bad that you're habitual about a lot of things, but not everything.
It's true. I want to share something. It's just a brief quote. It's not even the complete quote, but it's by Marianne Williamson. And she says it this way: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not the darkness, that most frightens us. And I think that that's true. Most of us, we know that there's more in us.
When people don't even want to talk about, that's they're expressing their fear. If you don't want to talk about it, you're expressing your fear. If you can't even talk about it to yourself, that's fearfulness. And God did not give man the spirit of fear. He did not give man the spirit of sickness. But look at it. Look how the world's suffering with it. But what Jesus did on the cross, that was to show you that, hey, I'm with you. I'm going through what you're going through. I'm right here with you. Talk to me. Let's talk. Let's get this story straight here.
And, you often cite where he says, I'll never leave you or forsake you. And you say, well, that sounds like eternity. And it does.
It sounds like immortality to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's it. You see, the thing of it is that when people are asking, well, what's life like after you die? Doesn't change. And they say, what do you mean it doesn't change? No, you get a new body, but other than what, all your attitudes and assumptions and moods go with you. You started off where you left off because you never left. You're still here. It's right here. It's all right here. It's a virtual reality. It's out of the mind of man. Look around you. What is around you that wasn't out of the mind of man? I mean,
nothing.
Well, see, that's it. You're told, choose this day. Well, all of this is what we've chosen. Or we've accepted what somebody else chose.
And I like to add to that what's around that has not been created from the mind of man, what's around it, God has not created. So if you look at everything that we've created from the mind of man, every child born of woman, and we know that God says, I've created all of this, then we got to understand that how is God creating except through the mind of man? Neville would just say imagination. But that's what we're talking about. God in you is the hope of glory.
That is the imagination. God in you. That is. He tells you. Attitude awareness, imaginational control is exactly what we're looking for to cause desired change. As Neville said, he never met a man who didn't want to change something. Well, here's how you do it. Change your mind, change your world. It's as simple as... And the guy says, well, what if you choose wrong? Well, choose again. That's it. Choose.
I was thinking about deja vu. And I often believe that deja vu is just remnants of previous lifetimes, where we lived and said, oh, man, I did this before. Yeah, you did. And it goes back to, us living and taking that old mind into our future state until we come into the fullness of the Christ self.
That's it. You're doing the same thing every day. You drag yesterday into today. And if it wasn't pleasant, then you didn't. Now you just destroyed today. No, DeCarlo, you got it. That's it. It's that simple.
You bring about a good point about dragging yesterday. Many of us are doing Bill Murray, and we're living Groundhog Day. If you want to get off of that track, Lindo's giving you the secret. Choose this day something different.
That's it. Just a different thought. And play with it. Become as a child. A child can pick up anything and make anything he wants out of it. Because he's not restricted in his thinking yet. Well, it's like I said. You look in the face of a child and you see expressions that you don't have anymore. You really don't. The adults, they change. But they don't know that they've changed. You see, the thing of it is, we're put here as directors of thinking and feeling. And if you're not directing well, then you're not living well. So it's as you think, you are, you do, you have. It's that simple. If you just keep it that simple and remember it, that's it. That's what did God leave himself? A remembrancer. To remember. That's what it's all about, remembering. It's already all with you. He gave it all to you. Son, all I have is yours. And son, everybody's a son.
I was thinking about, again, your 2 telephone calls, and for the people that were inquiring, how do they get started?
Yeah.
And start where you are. I suggest that whatever it is, begin speaking about what you know. Whatever that, it don't even matter. I want to call it divine plagiarism. Find somebody, like Lindo said earlier, find somebody that you find agreement with and begin telling what you've learned from them in your own voice. Start speaking in your own voice the words of Neville, the words of Lindo. Whatever you find that you find agreement with, tell it in your own voice. And that voice in the back of our minds is going to say, well, somebody's already telling that story. Why would somebody want to listen to me tell that story?
Mr. DeCarlo, I had it all down on cassette tapes from when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
I would just sit there and just, as you'd say, spill your guts into the microphone. And I put it all on tapes. And like I said, I've got 1,000 of them there. And actually now when I go back and listen to them, it was always there. It was always with me. It's always with you. It's always with everybody. I am with you always. Omnipresence. That's what you want to focus on. God is with you. What did he say? Physician, heal thyself. Well, what was Jesus called?
The great physician.
Right. And he's with you. I'm with you. I and my Father are one, even as you and I are one. That's all that's happening. You're experiencing life. Someone says, well, what am I supposed to do here? You're supposed to direct yourself. That's how you experience life. Yeah, it's kind of tough, too. Yeah. We are hard on ourselves.
We are.
Yeah, right. I mean, when it comes to forgiving, everybody's worried about forgiving somebody else. You got to forgive yourself first.
It goes back to that old adage. You're in a plane. The oxygen mask is dropped down. You got to put on your own mask first before you can help anyone else.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. How can you help somebody else if you can't help yourself?
You can't. You can't.
Yeah, well, actually, as I said, S.I. Hayakawa said it very perfectly. He says, every time you talk to another human being, you either help them or drive them crazy. And, if you just sit and think about that a little while, that's really a true statement.
It's true.
It is. I mean,
it is.
You're either helping him or help drive him crazy. I've been told I've been helping drive people crazy.
I'm still told that quite often, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, let me tell you this. To have the faith to move out, you have to explore it. You see, we don't really understand that we are explorers. No, we're not out with a pickaxe and climbing a mountain or something, but we're all explorers of mind. You start out exploring with your body as a child, seeing where you can, what you can hold on to get around. Mm-hmm. But now you want to see what you can think to get around. You have it with you to do so, whatever it is you can imagine. But what are you imagining? See, if that's what you want to constantly be checking on yourself about. What are you imagining? That's God himself. He plays all the parts. He does all things. If he didn't do it, it wasn't even done. What do you got to lose by examining what we're telling you?
You often say go into the quiet place. And what I'm going to suggest, like I said, take yourself, listen to this recording, listen to Neville's recording, listen to those teachers that you find agreement with. And process it. Think about it in your own voice. Just get quiet with what you've listened to. And as you begin doing that, what you're going to do is come up with some ideals, some creative ideas of your own thought. Begin jotting those things down. One thing that Lindo did was tapes. I didn't do a lot of tapes. I did a lot of writing. So now what I have, and I know that Lindo also did writing, but I have volumes of books, tablets,